Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you are in the world. And whenever you are tuning into this video, my name is James Porcelli, and welcome to another very special edition of the Ruthless Talk podcast. Happy Wednesday. Thank you. Yes. Another day and another Monday Night Raw review. Before we get into Monday Night Raw, as we are just several days away from SummerSlam, we are several days away from our special I almost said WrestleMania, our SummerSlam roundtable, as it'll be me and a lot of other content creators will be talking SummerSlam, the match card, and everything in totality. That is this weekend, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Usually every year, usually every big major PLE, whether it's WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, your boys will host a grand roundtable event, inviting a bunch of other content creators and talking about SummerSlam, WrestleMania, whatever that pay-per-view is, whatever that topic is. We will talk about it as far as debate, as far as predictions, everything, man. The build-up, all of that stuff. So if you guys like that sort of content, definitely check that out this weekend and stay tuned for who is going to be a part of this SummerSlam roundtable. And of course, if you guys have not checked out a few of our episodes, our last pro wrestling episode was SmackDown. I spoke on celebrities and pro wrestling. I've spoke about Rhea Ripley and her situation with WWE Unreal and a lot of other discussions and topics around the wrestling world. So definitely, guys, go check that out as well. But our very last episode, our very last upload was the return of the Ruthless Talk Sports Corner. That is right. So we talked a bunch of stuff. And if you are a fellow New York or New Jersey native, you're going to like the topic that I talked about. So that is on all of our platforms right now. If you guys have not checked out our latest Sports Corner episode, definitely check that out. It's been a couple of weeks. Decided to bring it back in our very last episode. Made that recording yesterday. It went up on our platforms yesterday. So definitely check that out when you guys can. We're going to dive straight into business, man. I don't want to waste too much of your guys' time. We're going to talk Monday Night Raw. We're going to dissect a very truthful and honest discussion, but it's going to be a review nonetheless. But right before we do start that, I want to take this time to acknowledge a legend, an icon, somebody that has bestowed himself through the music industry, the entertainment industry, and that's Ozzy Osbourne. Of course, if you guys know, a lot of people were informed the last 24 hours. Ozzy Osbourne officially passed away yesterday at the age of 76. His death is still not yet confirmed, but as we all know, he has dealt with Parkinson's disease. He's had this long battle over the last several years to Parkinson's disease. Of course, I believe he had a spinal injury as of late as well. So a lot of major health concerns that Ozzy Osbourne has dealt with, which I'm sure probably was one of the leading causes of his death, of his passing. But I just wanted to take this time to take this cold open, just to acknowledge him, to remember him, and just, thank him as well for all the amazing hits, for all the memories, for what he has done for music and for the music industry, and for a guy that I really first came across when I first started listening to music, way before I started listening to hip hop and rap. It was classic rock. And because I'm a pro wrestling fan, it was heavy metal and rock music. And Ozzy Osbourne was one of those first few artists that I came across and was just captivated by a lot of his hits, with hits with Black Sabbath, like Paranoid and War Pigs. And then most of his career that I came across was during his solo career, right, with songs like Mama, I'm Coming Home and Crazy Train. I'm going off the rails on the crazy train. Oh, such a good song, man. Just an absolute icon, man. The aura that he possessed, just the captivation that he brought every time he stepped on stage and performed, and somebody that was just a dime a dozen, just somebody that we will never forget, and will continue to rock out and live out all of his greatest hits for the next few years or decades to come. But much love to Ozzy Osbourne, man. Just much love to him, much love to his family, and just really, really sucks, man. It really sucks to hear this news. But yeah, man, this was a guy that I first came across as far as artists, as far as the music in general. He was one of the first that I came across, man. So this death definitely hits hard for me, from just listening to all of his greatest hits, to some of his legendary iconic hits that I just spoke about earlier. So yeah, man, just a guy that is never going to be forgotten. Everything about him was just so larger than life. We talk about larger than life people in pro wrestling. This dude was larger than life everywhere he went. And it was felt. His presence was felt every time he stepped on stage, every time he performed, every time he walked into a room. You knew who Ozzy Osbourne was, man. And that's when when you have that type of presence, that aura, you knew you impacted a lot of people and you were doing something right. But not just, of course, just, the music and what he did as a performer, but of course, just who he is overall and just the impact he's made on so many people. He's actually a WWE Hall of Famer, if people don't know. So he's very well known in the pro wrestling industry as well. So just much love again to Ozzy Osbourne, man. I know I sound like a broken record, but just much love to him, man. He's going to be dearly missed, I'm sure, for me and a lot of people. So wanted to just take this time in this cold open to just remember an icon, a living legend in the music industry, the entertainment industry. And yeah, man, just really sad news to hear. His legacy will continue to live on forever. Will continue to rock out his music for the next several years, several decades. But much love to him, man. Rest in peace to the living legend, the icon that is Ozzy Osbourne. So that is my cold open, man. So with that being said, let's get into Monday Night Raw, man. Monday Night Raw, to where it is starting to become really hard to find the words and muster up the words. And I know that we can rant, we can bitch, we can moan, we can do all of these things, and most likely nothing is really going to change as far as we're concerned, right? And we can do all of these things as far as telling everybody what's wrong with the product and what needs to change. And people will just say, oh, well, that's your opinion. I respect your opinion. But we're going to dissect the show, because everything that I'm going to tell you in totality is going to show you just how boring and just how for 2+ hours outside of a Roman Reigns return, nothing happens. Nothing. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Some good that we will acknowledge, but we'll have to address some elephants in the room. We do have to have a very honest discussion, some discussions that people may not want to hear, but they need to be said. So without further ado, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. I'm not going to waste too much of people's time. Let's talk about it, man. This was Monday Night Raw. This was July 21st, 2025. CM Punk starts off the show talking about his matchup for SummerSlam, his matchup against Gunther, promising the crowd that he's going to give everything that he has, after winning, the gauntlet match. And now he's going to go on to face Gunther, talking about being the best in the world. The best in the world was expressed heavily in this segment. CM Punk is not just any other wrestler. He's not just any other challenger. He is the best in the world. It's not Gunther. CM Punk still to this day is the best in the world. And then Gunther comes out. Gunther gets into the ring. They say some words to one another. Gunther, says, hey, we're a lot alike. We both have egos. We both have this. We both have that. Talking about Gunther continues to say, oh, hey, the best in the world who holds on to the world championship. And when that bell rings, he's going to regret, or make CM Punk regret, that he ever got into the ring with him, and he's going to choke him out. He's going to drop him, and he'll never be world champion because, I'm the best in the world and all of this other shit. This was probably at least the best part of the segment. to where Gunther says, at least you'll have the degenerate fans chanting for you for the rest of your life. And he walks off. So that was probably the best, I guess, mic drop of this segment. And that was it. Gunther just drops the microphone and leaves the ring. And then Michael Cole's like, man, what a start to the show. What a riveting show we got for you today. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, I mean, you know, it was a promo segment, and like this is the problem that I have, right? This matchup was made because of a gauntlet match. That's it, right? There's no creative storyline. You made this match out of thin air from last week, from a gauntlet match, and the best creativity that you have is for Punk to say some words that hold no value. Let's be honest. Gunther comes out, says some words to no value, and all of this is to talk about who the best in the world is. I mean, does it sound familiar? It should, because every time we give out number one contenders, it's about proving who the best in the world is, who the best wrestler is. Like, that's not creativity. You know what that is? That's redundancy. I'm sorry. I just don't see how this is getting you any more excited than we should, because, yeah, Punk and Gunther, it's the right decision. It's the right call to be made to have this matchup. Punk should win this World Heavyweight Championship. I think there's no better time for him to give him this title. But if you're going to have this matchup, man, you got to do more than just say a bunch of word salad. And the only type of context is, you know, saying, oh, we're a lot alike. We think we're the best in the world and we have egos, but the best in the world is what holds on to the world championship. And I'm going to make you regret being in the ring with me. And at least you have the degenerate fans that are going to cheer your name for the rest of your life. I mean, outside of that last line, there was no weight. There was no mic drops. There was nothing that was like, ooh, I can't believe he said that. Or, oh my goodness, like, I can't believe this was said. There was nothing. It was a forgettable promo segment to start the show. It was just a regular promo segment with a bunch of words, a bunch of word salad, and that was it, bro. That was it. And I get it. There's only several weeks of build. You made this match last week, but that's the problem. This is your world championship. You made this match out of thin air from a gauntlet match. Now you have 2 weeks of build, and this is the best you have? Like, I'm not even talking about a bloodbath. I'm not even saying we gotta, like, create chaos for the sake of it. But Gunther in this segment just says his piece, walks out, and that's the start of your show. Guys, we're 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away from SummerSlam, and you're telling me this is the best creativity that we have for Gunther and for a CM Punk match. Stop it. It was an anticlimactic way to start this show. And anticlimactic would be an absolute understatement to describe the start of the show, because that's just what this was, bro. It was anticlimactic. It was boring. Nothing important was said. It was just another promo segment that none of us are going to remember in the next several weeks and months. And that's just the truth. I don't mind this matchup. Punk should win this championship. Will he? I mean, time will only tell. But you got to do more, man, than just the regurgitated face versus face promo segment. And if you're going to do that, I understand this has a place. But if you're going to do that, at least create some headlines from this segment. Like, whoa, Gunther said this or Punk said that. Nothing important was said. And that's the problem. If there was words that held some substance and some weight, I wouldn't have had any problem with it. But the whole promo was just about who the best in the world is. And that's it. Just like any other promo and just like any other face-to-face, like, I'm the best in the world and I'm going to prove it to you at this pay-per-view, at SummerSlam. I'm going to prove it to you. You're going to regret the day that you step foot in the ring with me. What? Come on, man. This is SummerSlam, dude. This is not a fucking Night of Champions. This is not a Money in the Bank. This is SummerSlam. And you made this match out of thin air from a gauntlet match, and then poof, Expecto Petroleum. Less than 2 weeks, you have this match. Now, what are you going to do? And this was your effort? Come on, man. Stop. If you want to go the simplistic route, you got to still make sure that it's effective. Nothing was effective, right? Nothing that was said held no purpose, no meaning, no volume, no nothing. It was just a bunch of words that was forgettable, that held no weight. And that's the best I can describe it. So moving on. I know that may sound tough. That's something that's very hard to hear, but it's just the truth, man. And now you only got one more week left to at least give people a reason to give more of a shit about this match. And that's just the honest truth that I have. So that's the start of your show. The start of your show, and you've given everybody a reason to be put to sleep or to change the channel or both. So, and that's it. Moving on, we have Sheamus and Rusev. Sheamus wins this match via Broad Kick, covers Rusev. So now I guess they have one win on one another. So now what are we going to get? We're going to get a best of 3. So we're going to get another matchup. Like, guys, I don't know what you want me to say here. It's Sheamus and it's Rusev. This could have been fun because of their history and everything else. But guys, like, nothing is progressed between these two. Nothing. This is the problem of what WWE likes to do. You like to take something and you do it over and over and over and over and over again. And that's what you're doing with Sheamus and Rusev, to where you had a matchup between these two just a couple weeks ago. Right? It was physical. It was good. It was hard hitting. It was heavy hitting. And then they had some forgettable backstage altercations to make this matchup official. Right? And that's it. This could have, again, held more weight. It could have been good. Something to amplify this, to really make this personal if you're going off of history and everything else. No, everything is the same on a loop. And that's the problem with Sheamus and Rusev. Rusev probably worked the longest match that he's had in 5 years, and good for him. But I'm sorry, was it a fun match for the sake of it? Okay. I can go down to the local bingo hall in Charlotte, North Carolina and watch a good wrestling match. I can see that anywhere. What I'm watching here is for a story to be progressed, right? For character development, for something. And we get nothing. And that's the problem. It was a good match, right? Again, nothing that was bad in this match, but it was nothing different than what we saw from the first match. And what are we going to see in the third match, right? Maybe, we're going to see a no DQ match, a false count anywhere. That could be fun, but you're not progressing the story to give people a reason to care. Some confrontations that last maybe 60 seconds, that's forgettable. Nothing that holds on to any weight. And that's it, bro. It's that simple. This can be good, this can be fun, but you're not going out your way to progress the story. And that's the problem. That's just the problem. It was a match. It was a match on a wrestling show. That was hard hitting. That might have been fun to watch, but that was it. Up next, we have a WWE World Tag Team Championship #1 contenders match. The New Day, Joaquin Wilde, and Del Toro against the Creed brothers. Just like that you get on SmackDown, you're going to get a bunch of tag teams thrusted in one match, and we're just going to throw out #1 contenders. And it's LWO that wins this match. And what do you want me to say? Judgment Day and LWO. Oh, what riveting television. We're several days away from SummerSlam, and we got Judgment Day and we got LWO. You guys excited? Come on, man. Stop. Enough, man. You're doing the same thing with your tag division as the same thing that you're doing on SmackDown. You're throwing all of these teams in random ass matches that hold no weight nor substance. Everything is on a loop. Oh, let's just throw out a triple threat tag team match. Let's throw out this tag team match. And then we'll go about business whenever we can. That's just it. So Judgment Day and LWO, like, we haven't seen this for the last several months to a year. Judgment Day and LWO. And now the only difference is you pluck out a Finn Balor and a Damian Priest. You'll put in a Finn Balor and JD McDonough. It's just you take out a Rey Mysterio and a Dragon Lee. You'll put in a Joaquin Wilde and a Cruz del Toro. It's just everything on a loop, and you thrust talent in and out of situations in the same format in the same way. That's not creativity. And that's just what's frustrating, man. It's very frustrating, and it's boring. It's legit channel changing. That's just what it is, right? You do everything you can for your fans to flip that channel over or to sip on their NyQuil and fall asleep. And that's it. Moving on, because I feel like I harped on this way too much than I freaking needed to. So yeah, man, again, the only entertainment out of this entire show, you had AJ Styles dressed up as a janitor. He's mopping up the floor. He's pretty much just stalking Dominic Mysterio, waiting for that moment to where Dominic gets cleared. And hey, they're progressing it week after week. Like AJ Styles, he dresses up. He's hiding behind a corner. He's dressing up as a doctor. He's dressing up as a janitor, waiting for that moment to hear Dominic gets cleared so that way he can get his hands on him. So, hey, it's somewhat of a story. I know it may sound silly, and I know I may sound like I'm accepting the bare minimum, but it's at least something, bro. It's something that's at least progressing over the last several weeks. So I'll take this that makes sense and that progresses over everything else that we're getting in this show. So kudos to Styles, man. I know it's not something that maybe that we all like for AJ Styles and what he is being presented, but this is what we got, and it at least holds onto some weight. At least there is some value and something that you can at least go back and remember. Like AJ Styles dressing up as a janitor, this and that. It may sound silly, I get it. And I can understand how this may come off as goofy and whatever to some people. I get it. Trust me, I hear you. It's not perfect or great by any means. But if people want me to be somewhat positive, there's your positivity. We have a segment between Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. Becky Lynch comes out, pretty sure she's still wearing like Hulk Hogan, like attire, or Hulk Hogan color attire, which I think is great. People go out their way to call Becky Lynch Becky Hogan, and she's tapping into that. Becky Lynch, man, when the booking and the creativity is consistent, Becky Lynch is good, man. She's a damn good heel, and she holds herself and she does her part. This is where I love the whole like Becky Hogan and kind of her running with it, right? To where she talks about how Becky Lynch has stole opportunities and she stole this and she stole that, and she's tapping into what people are saying about her, and she's using that to her advantage in her heel character and kind of bestowing it as what Lyra has also said in previous, segments in the past. So Becky Lynch, again, man, it's talents that are making something out of nothing, and how she's presenting it and how she's presenting herself. She's doing well, man, and she's doing really well with it. Lyra comes out, and now we have this face-to-face segment between Becky Lynch and Lyra, and they just say a bunch of word salad to one another. The same exact promo segments that we have heard over the last several weeks. So where they've already faced several times to one another, several times. We continue to do the same promo segment in the same cadence, in the same way, in the same setting, to where you would think by now, like, things would progress after the first, the second matchup. Just like I said with Rusev and Sheamus, you would think things would progress. You would think that things would get more amplified and more captivating and more creative. No, nothing. It's the same thing. It's just like, let's just get this over with. Let's just have Lyra face Bayley. Lyra be the number one contender over a babyface Bayley in a one-on-one match. And we're going to continue to do the same thing that we did before their very first matchup, which is a word salad segment face-to-face promo segment, some brawls, and that's it. That's my full blunt honesty. If you want honesty like anyone else in this wrestling community, there it is. There it is for you right there. She challenges Becky Lynch to a no disqualification. So at least there's a stipulation now, as now we're getting to the third match. It's a no DQ match. Becky Lynch accepts. She asks Lyra to shake her hand. Lyra goes to shake it, but Becky Lynch goes for a manhandle slam instead. And that's the segment. I mean, outside of Becky Lynch and her shtick with this Becky Hogan thing, which I think she's doing great of how she's using that to her heel shtick. But outside of that, man, Lyra comes out. They say a bunch of words, the same words that they've exchanged for the last several months. Lyra asks for a no DQ match. Becky Lynch accepts. Becky drops Lyra. That's your segment. Guys, that's your segment. You're thinking, James, anything else happens? No, that's it. Guys, that's it. Everything that you've already been seeing for the last several weeks, even in this third and final matchup between the two, we're just going to keep doing the same thing. SummerSlam, guys, is legit less than 2 weeks, and we're doing the same thing like we've been doing with the build-up to Night of Champions and Money in the Bank and everything else. It's the same fucking thing. It's like watching a rerun of The Office, The Sopranos, King of Queens, like Breaking Bad, everything, bro. It's the same fucking episode. You just take out this person and put in that person. Let's put in the same two people in a promo segment, say the same word salad, and that's it. Let's just keep doing that until we get to the PLE. That's what this is, bro. You can't sit here and tell me, unless you're under the age of 12, that this is good creativity. You can't sit here and tell me, unless you're under the age of 12, that this was a good show. Because if that's the case, if you're over the age of 12 and you're going to sit here and tell me that this was a good show, this is great creativity, I truly feel like you've just given up. Like you've just given up. You just want to be like, oh, whatever. It was okay. It was a good show. But no, people like me are not going to stand for it, dude. This is SummerSlam. This is not just some run-of-the-muck B-level pay-per-view. This is SummerSlam. But because you already have so many freaking PLEs and shows and already lack of build to begin with, lack of time to build, this is what we get. And it's a shame, man. It really is a shame. Becky Lynch and her delivery and how she is presenting herself, tapping into the Becky Hogan propaganda. I think it's just really good stuff, man. Her and AJ Styles so far is carrying the show. And that's by themselves. You know, but with Becky Lynch is doing, man, that's all her, man. She's tapping into that and she's using that to her advantage, and good for her. And then we go into a women's tag team championship match. This is the Judgment Day, Raquel and Roxanne Perez against Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. That's right. James, weren't they just like in a match, and haven't they been feuding and haven't they been beefing the last several weeks? Oh yeah, you're correct. Because why wouldn't we give them a championship title opportunity for tag titles, right? What is it? Like, guys, what is it? Is it the can we coexist game? Do we gotta put Bayley and Lyra Valkyria in a tag match, a tag title match, to see if they could coexist? And the titles are on the fucking line. It's like, bro, it's like this past Friday night on SmackDown. It's like Alexa and Charlotte Flair were just granted a title match out of thin air. Poof, boom, expecto petroleum. You got your title match. You've been in what, 1 or 2 matches together? You lost at Evolution, but here's a tag title match for SummerSlam. All right, Bayley and Lyra have been feuding and have been beefing for the last several weeks, and out of thin air, we're just granted a title match to progress a story. What's the story? Like, can they coexist in a tag team title match? What is that saying for the titles? To where anybody just can go up and just get a title match. You want a tag team title match? You got it. You want a tag team title match? You got it. Right? Oprah Winfrey, you get a title match. You get a tag team title match. Charlotte Flair, you get a tag team title match. Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria, you get a tag team title match. Like, just tell me that you don't care about these titles without telling me you don't care. And what story is this progressing? What's the story? Because they've been beefing, and you're going to put them in a tag team title match to where you're going to do the regurgitated "can we coexist," and you're putting them in a title match to where it's not doing anything for the titles. It's a title match just for the sake of a title match. And this match, by the way, was very sloppy. A lot of botches in this match. Raquel went to do a pump kick to, I think it was, who was it? It was either to Bailey or was it to Lyra? I forget. But the intention was for her to miss and to hit Dominic, accidentally. But barely grazes Dominic's shoulder. It looked really bad. By the time this matchup ends, man, the Judgment Day win this match. A Tahana bomb from Raquel covers Bailey, and the Judgment Day win this match, and that's it. So, okay, your goal is to pump up Raquel and Roxanne as a team, and then over time, you're going to make them get more and more on the same page and become more and more as a team, to where it's going to make Liv Morgan more as the face, to where she comes back from injury whenever that time comes. I get it. But guys, like, we can't just throw title matches just for the sake of them. All right? It's like if you're not going to hold any weight with how you're bestowing these championships, get rid of them. Because it's doing nothing for the titles. It's doing nothing for the talents that are holding on to these titles. And it's doing nothing for the talent that are going after these said championships. They're a team going after titles after they've been beefing for several weeks. Because, reminder, they're both faces, right? So, hey, let's team them up together and let's see if they could coexist after placing them in a one-on-one match freaking last week. Come on, man. Tell me that you don't give a shit without telling me, bro. You're less than 2 weeks from SummerSlam, and this is what you have? It's the bottom of the totem pole of creativity. Anyway, moving on. Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross wins this match over Sami Zayn with the lead pipe. The referee's distracted by Scarlett. Kross hits Zayn in the ribs with the steel pipe, goes for the cover and gets the pinfall, and Karrion Kross wins the match. Everything that pretty much should have happened at Night of Champions. Let's face it. Karrion Kross and Scarlett, guys, are a great duo. They are tremendous together. And everything that you saw on Monday Night Raw should have just happened at Night of Champions. Why couldn't you just do this at Night of Champions? But we'll place Karrion Kross in the middle of Monday Night Raw and just give him his victory there. Come on, man. Why do you got to 50-50 book your talent? It makes no sense. It makes no sense, man. Give Kross some momentum, some steam. Like, I don't understand, man. And that's the best I can give you. Is that everything you saw in this match is what should have happened at Night of Champions. But the route that we'll just go as a company is that we'll give Sami Zayn a victory. We'll try to protect him with injured ribs. And then in the middle of a Monday Night Raw, when nobody gives a fuck, we'll give Karrion Kross his victory there. You know? So yeah, Kross and Scarlett are great. They should be bestowed more on the show. You have a great opportunity with Kross. All you're doing is pouring cold water on Karrion Kross and his momentum. Karrion Kross is going to be fine because he's that uber talented to get himself over with fans and to present himself in a captivating way. But how you involve him or how you progress storylines, it's only going to get so far, you know? To where, look at R-Truth, bro. R-Truth freaking was the talk of the pro wrestling world, and because of shit booking, R-Truth is just underneath the radar. Ron Killings, he's underneath the radar. And you have a great opportunity with Kross. And all I can say is, man, is that you at least just meet the guy halfway. Meet the guy halfway, and Karrion Kross and Scarlett, both of them will take care of the rest. So, Kross gets a W, that's great, but it should have happened at Night of Champions. You didn't have to 50-50 book both of these guys to get to this point. And that's it. Stephanie Vacure versus Io Sky. Two faces. Why? Just fucking why? You know, because why? Oh, because we had this matchup several weeks ago and it was and the finish was taken away, right? Because it was end in a DQ or an interference, and now there has to be a winner, to where every which way Michael Cole could was to remind you how there must be a winner. We have to see a winner between these two because it was taken away from us a couple weeks ago. So they have this match, and the matchup was fine. I mean, it's Io and Stephanie. But the problem is that it's a face versus face match. Io Sky, she's a really good baby face. People like Io Sky. Run with it. Book her properly. Stephanie Vacour, she has her fans. Book her properly. Why put them together in a match? You have people chanting for Stephanie. You have people chanting for Io. Why would you do that with these two? And then when the match is all said and done, it's the same thing it just did several months ago, where people interfere. Naomi interferes. Rhea Ripley comes out for the save, and that's it. Guys, that's it. Tell me, bro, what progressed? What progressed to make you give that much more of a shit about any of these ladies and what they're doing? And I get it. None of these ladies can lose a match, right? But this match should have never happened to begin with because they're both baby faces. Oh, man. So Chelsea Green, I think, interfered. I think she was also a part of this as well. In comes Chelsea Green from behind, and she attacks Stephanie, and the referee calls for the bell, and it's a disqualification. So Chelsea throws Io outside of the ring. They begin to beat up on Stephanie. Io comes back into the ring to take out Alba Fire, and the Secret Harvest, Piper Niven, all these ladies. Naomi comes in, pushes Io Sky into Stephanie. So Naomi is taking out Io Sky. Then Rhea Ripley comes out, and the heels retreat. Heels retreat up the ring, or up the rampway, and the faces stand tall. Stephanie, Rhea, and Io, and that's it. So what, are we going to get a six-woman tag? Is that what we're getting? A six-woman tag with all these ladies, guys. Like, that's the creativity to get to a triple threat women's world title match, and to continue to build up Stephanie and her involvement with the Secret Harvest. Let's just throw a bunch of talent in one segment and just make it a clusterfuck. Because that's what it is. Nothing progressed. Nothing got you that much more excited about any of what these ladies are involved in. Nothing. Everything that you saw between Stephanie and Io in their first match, you just did the same thing months ago. How is that creativity, guys? Tell me. It's the same thing. They had a good wrestling match like they did a couple months ago. And here you are. You place them in a match, a very good match, the same match we saw several months ago with the same interference, right? To where Michael Cole constantly said, we got to see a winner. A winner must be determined in this match. All of that just for there not to be a winner, just for there to be some extracurricular activity, just some run-in saves, some brawls, and that's it. That's it, bro. That's your creativity. For Rhea Ripley to be a part of this triple threat, to where I get it. I understand why people are fans of Rhea Ripley. I understand the value that she possesses. She does have a look. She does have a presence. I agree 100%. But this match for SummerSlam should just be Naomi versus Io Sky. Io Sky was the champion. She was the one that got screwed over. She was the one that got pinned. She gets her rematch clause. You progress the story between Naomi and Io Sky. All Rhea Ripley has done is what? She bitched and moaned and cried to get a world championship match at WrestleMania. And she was given this match out of thin air for the world championship against Io Sky. So if you want to book Rhea Ripley properly, bro, get her away from this title. The more that she is in this title picture, the more it's just going to turn off fans, and the more it's just going to do a disservice to Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley does not need a championship match. She doesn't need a title around her waist. She needs good booking. And good booking means get her away from the title picture and put her in a real captivating story. And that's just it, bro. So look, I love Naomi and the work that she's doing, but as far as the creativity and what she's involved in, nothing progressed. It was a one-on-one match with Io and Steph. They had their match. It was a good match. Okay. The same match we saw several months ago, to where Rhea Ripley interferes. She's got a clear house. How is this creativity? How is this progression? The answer is it's not. There's no progression. There's nothing. And that's all I can say. And that's all I can say. Moving on. I'm gonna try to get through this main event here. The main event segment. You had Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, the Goof Troop walk down to the ring. Bronson Reed holding on to the Money in the Bank briefcase. Paul Heyman introducing himself before Roman Reigns comes out. Paul Heyman and Roman have this love fest where like, oh, you disrespected me. We used to be friends, used to be family, used to be my business partner, right? We were like this. And, Heyman's telling Roman, like, oh, well, you'll always be my tribal chief. The crowd is chanting, you sold out. So Braun Breaker steps forward. He asks for a microphone saying, here, old news. You're not the big dog anymore. I'm the big dog now. He's the top dog. I'm the future of WWE. I'm the man now. Braun Breaker tells Roman to do what he does best, just to turn around and leave. A brawl ensues. Roman with a right hand onto Bronson Reed. Roman turns around and eats a spear for Braun Breaker. Jey Uso comes out for the save. They did a cute little moment to where like, oh, they both delivered a spear, right? Roman hits a spear and to Bronson, and I think it was Jey who hit a spear onto Braun Breaker. They both retreat, both Bronson and Braun Breaker. Jey Uso and Roman stand tall in the middle of the ring, and that's your segment. So yeah, there's your tag match, man. There's your tag match, bro, for SummerSlam. Is anybody excited? Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed. I'm gonna be completely honest with all of you. All of this time for Roman Reigns to come back, and I get it, Seth Rollins' injury plays a part in it, and you had to call audibles, you got to do this, you got to do that. I completely get it. But for months, for weeks, for Roman Reigns to come back, and this is all you have? For Roman Reigns to just stand in the middle of the ring and tell Paul Heyman how much he betrayed him and how much you used to be family and all of this stuff, and say all of this word salad, and for Heyman to say, oh, you'll always be my tribal chief, and have this love affair, right? And for Jey Uso to make a run-in save, and to have this tag match for SummerSlam, and watch them put this as the main event of SummerSlam, right? Watch them put this at the main event of SummerSlam. Watch. Because it's Roman Reigns, right? And I'm going to be completely honest, as I always am. And this may sting, that this may be a hot take, but it's the honest truth. With all of this time with Roman Reigns being gone, right? The weeks, the several months, the ways that you can bring Roman Reigns to come back. And when he comes back, all you have him be involved in is in the mid-card. What? It's the truth. Does that sting a little bit? It's the truth, bro. Bronson Reed is a mid-carder. Braun Breaker is a mid-carder. You top it off with Jey Uso being his tag partner. It's a tag match for the sake of it. Okay. A tag, and you're going to make this maybe the main event of SummerSlam because Roman Reigns is in it? Right? And just because, guys, that Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are in segments with Roman Reigns, we're going to declare them now as main eventers? Stop. Are they good talent? Sure. Do they have potential? Absolutely. But let's not act like they're still mid-carder. They're still mid-carders at the end of the day, guys. That's just the truth. There's still more you need to tap into Breaker and Bronson Reed for you to call these two any sort of a main eventer. Just because they're in main event stuff with Roman Reigns doesn't mean that that's how they're going to be portrayed as such. That's not how it works. That's not going to make people just give a shit more because they're in the same segment as Roman Reigns. It's not how it works, bro. You're not going to give people a reason to give a fuck. It's a tag match for the sake of a tag match because you have to call an audible. James, Seth Rollins is hurt. What do you expect them to do? This is their effort. If you're going to do any type of audible, do Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns. That at least is semi-interesting. Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns in a one-on-one match for SummerSlam, right? To where the storytelling you can tell with Breaker, right? I mean, he said it in his promo, like, I'm the top dog, right? To where you used to be the top dog 5 years ago with your big stock shit. You could tell somewhat of a story there. But instead, you do this weird random tag match because we need Jey Uso on the card. We need Bronson Reed on the card. So let's just throw a tag match just for the sake of it. Whether it's SummerSlam, whether it's Night of Champions, I wouldn't give any ounce of a shit if this was even on a Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. Whether it's SummerSlam, a pay-per-view, a Raw, or SmackDown, I could not care less about this tag match, bro. And that's what you had to wait for 2+ hours. Roman Reigns comes out. He gets his big pop, probably the biggest reaction out of this entire show. The biggest pop that anybody got out of this entire show. Leave it to Roman Reigns to do that. Just for him to come back to a tag match against a bunch of mid-carders. And that's right. And I'm talking Jey Uso too. He's a mid-carder. Right? Doesn't mean they're not good talent. They're just mid-carders, bro. That's all they are. That's all they are. All right, Jey Uso. A guy that, yes, is very talented, but has one of the most just overplayed acts that I've ever seen. To where we do nonstop 20 minutes of yeeting, his 3 to 5 moves of doom, right? Taking away moves like the spear that Roman Reigns uses. He does a chokehold now like Gunther. The same exact regurgitated, overplayed shtick over and over and over again that Jey Uso does. And now we're going to have him align himself with Roman Reigns to do a tag match. And that's it, against a bunch of other mid-carders like Braun and Braun Breaker. That's it. That's it, bro. That's as honest as I can be. If that sounds harsh, then tough shit. I'm not here to sugarcoat. I'm not here to bullshit with anybody, bro. That's just the truth. That's the honest-to-God truth. Roman Reigns comes out to be a part of a tag match, but most importantly, to just be thrusted into the mid-card. Because that's what he's surrounded himself with mid-carders. That's Jey Uso, that's Braun Breaker, and that's Bronson Reed. And just because that they're placed in a segment with Roman Reigns doesn't make them main event. Right? Are we going to now, just because they're in these segments with Roman Reigns, are we going to now put Braun Breaker and a Bronson Reed in the same conversation as a John Cena, a Roman Reigns, or all these main eventers? Like, what do you want me to say here? Are they good talent? Sure, but there's still more you got to tap into before me or anybody else that claims that Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed is a main eventer. And just because they're going to be in a tag match, doesn't make them main event. You put them in a main event, doesn't make them a main event caliber of a star. Right? We've seen plethora of talents in main events, doesn't make them main event worthy. Doesn't mean other fans look at them as main event. You know? Maven was in a fucking main event. I said that several weeks ago. Are we going to claim that Maven was a main event caliber star? Stop. You know? Guys like Penta and others, good talent. But they're mid-carders right now. We're taking a bunch of mid-carders and thrusting them in main events with Roman Reigns. For tag matches, just to have tag matches. Because we're so inept creatively, because Seth Rollins is out with an injury, and the best audible we have, to where we could have just done Braun Breaker and Roman, that could have been semi-interesting, but let's throw them in a tag match. I don't care if it's SummerSlam, I don't care if it's Night of Champions, I don't care if it's Money in the Bank, I don't care if it's WrestleMania, a Raw or SmackDown. Don't give any ounce of shit about this match. None. Absolutely none. And that's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. Outside of Roman Reigns and his return, AJ Styles and turning chicken salad into chicken shit, Becky Lynch and tapping into this Hogan propaganda for 2+ hours, bro, you got nothing. We're less than 2 weeks away from SummerSlam. And guys, what progressed in this show that got anybody excited to watch SummerSlam, to buy the Peacock subscription, to make SummerSlam must-see? The answer is nothing. Nothing. And that's the honest-to-God truth. So I know sometimes we got to sit down and have hard conversations. And sometimes we want to put on the earmuffs and say, no, James, this show was good. Stop. No, you're being negative. Well, sorry. If you don't want to hear it, then go somewhere else that's going to spew you all the shit that you want to hear. And that's as honest as I can put it. This show for 2+ hours accomplished absolutely, positively nothing. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another Monday Night Raw review. This was Monday Night Raw, July 21st, 2025. Stay tuned for our SummerSlam roundtable this weekend and for our SummerSlam review coming up next weekend, the following weekend. Once again, rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne, a living legend, an icon, a man in the music industry that has impacted so many people and that will never be forgotten. Much love to Ozzy Osbourne. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to another edition of the podcast. Stay tuned for more episodes to come. Of course, check us out on social media, Instagram and TikTok, Ruthless_Talk. Make sure you guys check us out on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. And as always, stay tuned for more content to come. That is going to do it for today's episode, everybody. My name is James Porcelli, and I am signing off, saying salute. Peace out, and take care, everybody. Toodles. Well, the skin is dry and pale. The pain will never fail.